Imagine you and your friends get on a plane crash ending up on an island. And as if that wasn't bad enough, that island is filled with giant human-eating insects. Matsumi is an insect enthusiast who, with her fellow students, teeming with excitement, awaits at an airport for a plane that's set to whisk them off on a school trip. However, none of them could have anticipated the macabre turn of events, the plane crash, leaving them stranded on a desert island overrun by huge man-eating insects. Many perished in the catastrophic crash, but a few, including Matsumi, survived. Awakening on the beach, the debris-strewn landscape meets her eyes, the wreckage of the plane, metal shards, and scattered luggage, painting a grim portrait of disaster. The sight is a gut punch that sends Matsumi spiraling into a panic. As if this wasn't harrowing enough, she stumbles upon a detached human hand, a grim reminder of the catastrophe. Desperate for companionship, Matsumi plunges into the jungle in the hope of locating other survivors. Fortune favors her when she encounters Matsuoka, the captain of their school's softball team. The duo embarks on a mission to find their fellow survivors. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the dense undergrowth, a group of students has congregated, their discovery of a fridge full of drinks, raising hopes of other inhabitants on the island. Desperate for rescue, they attempt to use their cell phones, but the devices, soaked and dysfunctional, offer no help. Only Chitos's waterproof phone survives. She's literally rocking the classic Nokia 3310. But the island is devoid of signal. Ino, who wanders off into the woods, is abruptly silenced by an ominous scream that fills the air. Matsumi and Matsuoka, who were nearby, also hear the blood-curdling scream and rush towards the sound. Their blood runs cold as they witness the source of the terror, a colossal butterfly, with a proboscis plunged into Ino's skin. Joined by another creature sucking nutrients from her mouth, they watch in helpless horror as the insects drain the life out of Ino, leaving her body a husk before moving on to Mami. Their attempts to help are in vain as two more students are preyed upon and succumb to the terrifying insects. Matsumi and Matsuoka stumble upon the nightmarish scene and watch in dumbfounded shock. Matsuoka, in a brave but futile attempt, lunges at the insects with a knife, but their gargantuan bodies prove impervious. Now, it's Matsumi's turn to save her best friend Chitos, who is under attack. Drawing on her knowledge, she ignites a spray can with a lighter, turning it into a flamethrower that grills the giant butterfly. Her quick thinking makes her a vital asset to the group's survival. With the immediate threat neutralized, the survivors regroup and brainstorm a rescue plan. They must hold out for 3 days, the estimated rescue window. In the midst of this planning, the buzzing of a helicopter is heard, raising their spirits. But their joy is short-lived as Chitos recognizes the dread-filled truth. The sound wasn't from a rescue helicopter, but a gigantic, predatory wasp. Before anyone can react, Chitos is ensnared by the wasp and paralyzed by its venom. Matsumi and Matsuoka attempt to save her, but Atsushi, self-proclaimed leader, halts them. Undeterred by Atsushi's apathy, Matsumi rallies the group to rescue Chitos, reasoning that her waterproof phone could be vital for survival, thanks to its built-in GPS. Despite no signal, the GPS could help identify their location, allowing Matsumi to estimate the kind of insects inhabiting the island and accordingly strategize their survival tactics. With newfound resolve, they set out to the wasp nest, suspecting it to be Chitos's grim whereabouts and a probable nursery for the insect eggs. Their quest leads them to an isolated house nestled amidst the thicket, infested with gargantuan wasps. As they inch through the house, they stumble upon a scene straight out of a horror film. Their classmates in the throes of a slow, agonizing death, their bodies a feast for the burgeoning wasp larvae. The victims, however, are not trying to escape, for the monstrous insects release euphoria-inducing substances, keeping their prey complacent while they devour them from the inside out. The cruel facade shatters when the group unintentionally stirs up the larvae, triggering an agonizing chorus of screams as the victims' pain sensors reactivate. The horrifying scene sends the survivors fleeing, but not Matsumi. Undeterred, she insists on investigating the other nests to find Chitos. Outside, they bear witness to yet another kidnapping. This time it's Akira, Atsushi's friend, snatched by a wasp. Driven by camaraderie, Atsushi charges after his friend while the wasp prepares to retaliate. Matsumi swiftly intervenes, giving Atsushi a window to follow the wasp. A confrontation awaits him inside the nest, resulting in Atsushi tumbling down a floor where he reunites with Matsumi. A quick spray of hairspray stuns the insect momentarily, buying them time to rescue Akira. In the same nest, Matsumi discovers Chitos, unconscious and helpless. Despite her pleas, Atsushi, spurred by survival instincts, picks up his best friend and flees, leaving the two girls alone. Outside, he evades yet another wasp by making a swift exit through a hole in the wooden floor. Back inside, Matsumi is dragging Chitos towards a potential escape route when another wasp swoops in. The new wasp starts attacking the wasp Matsumi sprayed her hairspray on, and Matsuoka arrives just in time, aiding Matsumi and Chitos' escape as the house teems with wasps, lured by the scent of the hairspray. Despite their best efforts, the group fails to concoct an antidote for their friends paralyzed by the wasp venom. Kai discovers a map showing a nearby hospital, a ray of hope. However, their journey to the hospital is thwarted by yet another hitch. Mommy spots a mammoth tick lodged on Jino's back. Matsumi manages to extract it, but the damage may already be done. Matsumi speculates that a tick bite can lead to a lethal viral infection. To add insult to injury, they find themselves smack in the middle of a tick nest, yet another obstacle in their dire quest for survival. The nightmarish ticks have claimed the entire area for themselves, their crimson, eerie eyes glittering in the dark. However, Matsumi, our budding entomologist, has a plan. She instructs everyone to cross their arms, tuck their hands in, and stoop to minimize body temperature and carbon dioxide emission, making them practically invisible to the ticks. To further throw the ticks off their trail, she periodically tosses heated stones as a decoy. But just when they're on the brink of exiting the tick-infested territory, they come across their teacher, a pitiful sight to behold, consumed alive by the gruesome creatures. This horrifying spectacle sends Mami into a frenzy, causing her to bolt into the forest. Unfazed by the grim sight, Matsumi hatches a cold, yet strategic, plan to use the doomed teacher as bait. Armed with a piece of wood, she topples the teacher, triggering a swarm of ticks to descend on her. This diversion offers the group a golden window to escape, and they seize it. They survive the onslaught, but their teacher, regrettably, does not. After surviving the nightmare, they reach their destination, the hospital, at some point in the dead of the night. They find a serum solution that could possibly treat their infected friends. However, something seems amiss with Akira. Could he be infected by a parasitic creature? Amid the brewing uncertainty, Chitos makes a significant discovery, the energy management room. She manages to restore power to the hospital and stumbles upon emergency supplies. The group plans to hunker down in the hospital for 2 more days, anticipating rescue. But just when they dare to breathe a sigh of relief, Akira starts exhibiting strange, unnerving symptoms. His eyes bulge, and his body flails uncontrollably. In his madness, he charges out of the hospital, up to the helipad. Atsushi chases after his friend, against Matsumi's warning of a deadly parasite infection. In his crazed state, Akira's cacophonous sounds draw the attention of predatory creatures. The hospital suddenly doesn't seem safe anymore. Before they can evacuate, a colossal winged insect with deadly claws swoops in. It sets its sights on Akira and ruthlessly beheads him. The sight of his decapitated friend leaves Atsushi in utter shock. In the ensuing chaos, Jino grabs Atsushi, and they make a beeline for the hospital. Trailing behind them are the others. Once inside, Dino slams the door shut and locks it. Despite Matsumi's pleas, Jino coldly dismisses them, feigning concern about the parasite infection. The brutal truth, however, is that she'd chosen to sacrifice the others to secure her own safety. Outside, the monstrous insect continues its onslaught. It hurls something at Mami, and when she turns around, she is greeted by a grisly sight, Akira's severed head. Inside the hospital, Chitos is beginning to wake up, but she still cannot move her body. Atsushi is consumed by shock, the abrupt loss of his friend refusing to sink in. Upon questioning Jino about Matsumi's whereabouts, Chitos is met with a harsh claim of their comrades being devoured by insects. Unconvinced and filled with concern, she calls out for her friend, only to hear Matsumi's screams from the outside. A sinister plot is brewing inside the hospital, with Jino and Atsushi planning to take advantage of Chitos' incapacitation. However, Kai, who's been inside all this time, intervenes, knocking them out with a fire extinguisher. Meanwhile, Matsumi, Matsuoka, and Mami are on the brink of being ensnared outside by a huge insect when Kai springs the door open, facilitating their escape. With the monstrous creature prowling outside, they need a new plan. Matsumi steps up with a daring proposition, enlisting Kai's assistance. The plan is to use the helipad's halogen lamps as bait for the colossal insect. Matsumi embarks on her stealthy ascent up the tower, managing to shroud the lights with a tarp without attracting the creature's attention. Descending back, she uses a sound alarm to pique the insect's interest. The aim is to lure it directly to the helipad's summit. Bracing herself against the gargantuan wasp's relentless onslaught, Matsumi navigates her way to the tower's base. With a swift pull, she unravels the tarp, and the insect, drawn to the lights, lands on the tower. Sensing the opportunity, Kai amps up the light intensity, triggering a short circuit. The creature is immediately zapped to death. Thanks to Matsumi's ingenious plan, the group survives their first day on this dreadful island. At dawn, they decide to move to a safer location to avoid other potential insect attacks. Dino and Etsushi are banished by the group and left behind. Now under Chidos's leadership, the students embark on at least 2 more days of survival until the rescue team comes to save them. Watch this next video. See you on the next one.